This is breaking news from Channel.
State police talking about the fear and concern in a small town community after they announced that 2 missing girls were in fact victims of murder.
We do have breaking news on a story we told you about a short time ago. The man convicted of killing 2 teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana, just received the maximum sentence, 130 years.
Where Richard Allen was sentenced to 130 years in prison for the 2017 murders of 2 teenage girls. 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German were brutally murdered while out for a hike on a local trail in the small town of Delphi, Indiana. The tight-knit community often frustrated. It took 5 years for the police to find a viable suspect, 52-year-old Richard Allen, a husband, a father, and well-known around the Delphi community. Key evidence in the case was this chilling cell phone video captured on Libby's phone just before the 2 girls went missing.
In the quiet, unassuming town of Delphi, Indiana, life moved at a slow and familiar pace. Surrounded by sprawling fields and dense woods, it was the kind of place where neighbors greeted one another by name, where kids rode bikes until dusk, and where a sense of safety felt as constant as the changing seasons. The Monon High Bridge Trail, an abandoned railroad path cutting through the heart of Delphi's wilderness, was a favorite spot for locals. Its towering bridge stretched high above Deer Creek, a relic of the past that had become a playground for the adventurous. On February 13, 2017, 2 best friends, Abigail Abby Williams, 13, and Liberty Libby German, 14, planned a simple outing. With a day off from school and unusually warm February weather, they decided to spend the afternoon outdoors. It was a plan born of youthful spontaneity. Explore the trail, take photos, and enjoy the last moments of winter's grip loosening. That morning, Libby asked her older sister Kelsey to drive them to the trail. Kelsey agreed, dropping the girls off at the entrance around 1:35 p.m. As she watched them disappear down the wooded path, she had no reason to think it would be the last time she would see them alive. At 1:45 p.m., a photo appeared on Libby's Snapchat story. It showed Abby walking along the creaky, weathered planks of the Monon High Bridge, her bright hoodie a stark contrast against the muted tones of the leafless trees. The picture captured a moment of carefree innocence, a moment that would soon be frozen in time. Hours later, as the afternoon gave way to evening, the girls were supposed to meet family members at the designated pickup spot. But when the agreed time passed and the trailhead remained empty, concern began to mount. Calls to their phones went unanswered, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, worry transformed into fear. Something was wrong. Family members began combing the trails, their voices echoing through the woods as they called out the girls' names. Flashlights scanned the underbrush, their beams slicing through the growing darkness. By nightfall, the local police were alerted, and an official search operation was launched. Volunteers joined law enforcement, determined to find Abby and Libby. Still, the woods held their secrets tight. The next morning, February 14th, search efforts resumed with renewed urgency. Then just after noon, the unthinkable happened. Searchers discovered the bodies of Abby and Libby on a secluded stretch of land about half a mile from the bridge. Details about the scene were, and remain, tightly guarded by law enforcement. But one thing was clear: this was no accident. The shockwave of the discovery rippled through Delphi. The town was thrust into the national spotlight as grief and disbelief gripped its residents. 2 vibrant young lives, full of promise and dreams, had been cut short in a place they had always felt safe. Yet, amidst the devastation, one extraordinary act of courage by Libby German would soon come to light, a final gift to investigators and to her community in the fight for justice. Libby, in a moment of remarkable presence of mind, had used her phone to record crucial evidence. Among the fragments left behind was an image of a man walking along the bridge toward the girls. Grainy and indistinct, the photo showed a figure dressed in blue jeans, a blue jacket or coat, and a hoodie pulled over his head. But that wasn't all. on Libby's phone was a brief audio recording, 4 seconds that would haunt all who heard it. The clip captured a man's voice, low and firm, uttering 3 chilling words: "Guys down the hill." This short, cryptic command was enough to send chills down the spines of even the most seasoned investigators. It hinted at a calculated, predatory presence, someone who had approached the girls with dark intent. For law enforcement, it was both a breakthrough and a challenge. They had a voice, an image, and a timeline. But who was this man? As the investigation unfolded, police released portions of the evidence to the public, hoping someone might recognize the voice or the figure in the photo. Press conferences were held.
This is breaking news from Channel 13 Eyewitness.
We have nobody in custody at this time.
The case attracted
So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is
with
somebody out there
experts
that
and
did this
amateur
horrendous
sleuths
crime,
alike
and
poring over the scant
we're going to track him
details.
down.
Tips poured in by the thousands, each one a potential lead in the sprawling labyrinth of the investigation. Despite these efforts, the case remained shrouded in mystery. The woods around Delphi seemed to hold their secrets tightly, as if reluctant to let go of the truth. Theories swirled, each more unsettling than the last. Was the killer a drifter, passing through Delphi unnoticed? Or was he someone closer, a figure hiding in plain sight among the community? For Abby and Libby's families, the passage of time brought no closure. Birthdays came and went, milestones uncelebrated. Yet, they refused to let the girls' memories fade. Libby's grandparents, Mike and Becky Patty, became vocal advocates for justice, speaking at events and urging anyone with information to come forward. "We'll never stop," they promised. "We owe it to Abby and Libby." The community of Delphi rallied around the families, holding vigils and creating memorials to honor the girls. But as months turned into years, the weight of unanswered questions bore down on everyone. Investigators continued to chase leads, their determination unwavering. They were not just searching for a suspect. They were fighting to restore a sense of safety and trust that had been ripped away. Today, the case of Abby and Libby stands as a harrowing reminder of life's fragility and the shadows that sometimes linger in the unlikeliest of places. It is a story of loss and resilience, of unimaginable evil and extraordinary bravery. Libby German's actions on that fateful day ensured that her and Abby's voices would not be silenced. Her recording became a testament to her courage, a piece of evidence that, even now, holds the potential to bring a killer to justice. As we explore this case, we delve into the heart of a community forever altered, the complexities of an investigation that has spanned years, and the enduring hope that justice will prevail. This is not just a tale of tragedy. It is a call to remember, to act, and to believe that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, will one day come to light. Nestled in the rolling hills of Indiana, Delphi stands as a testament to small-town America. With just under 3,000 residents, this close community prizes its historic charm and natural beauty. The town streets tell stories through century-old buildings, local shops where everyone knows your name, and families who've called this place home for generations. The Monon High Bridge Trail winds through the outskirts of town, following the path of an abandoned railroad line. The bridge itself towers 63 feet above Deer Creek, its weathered railroad ties stretching 853 feet across the water. Nature embraces the trail. Tall trees create cool shade in summer, wildflowers the paths in spring, and deer often peek through the undergrowth at passing hikers. This peaceful setting served as a backdrop to the lives of 2 remarkable young girls. 13-year-old Abigail "Abby" Williams brought creativity and joy wherever she went. Her artwork decorated the walls of her family's home, each piece showcasing her growing talent and unique vision. She spent hours sketching characters from her favorite anime shows and dreaming up stories to accompany them. Friends and family described her infectious laugh, the kind that could light up any room. Liberty Libby German, 14, matched Abby's artistic spirit with her own passionate drive. She excelled on the softball field, practicing her pitching technique for hours. Her technological prowess impressed everyone around her. She documented life through her phone, capturing moments big and small. The bond between Libby and her older sister Kelsey ran deep, built on shared secrets and endless support. These two friends found each other in 6th grade, forming an immediate connection that grew stronger each day. They shared similar interests, music, art, and spending time outdoors. Their families became intertwined through countless sleepovers, shared meals, and joint adventures. Teachers noted how they brought out the best in each other, Abby's quiet creativity complementing Libby's outgoing nature. February 13th, 2017 began as an ordinary day off school. The unusually warm weather, reaching nearly 60 degrees, made it perfect for an outdoor adventure. The girls planned their afternoon carefully, asking Libby's sister Kelsey for a ride to the trails. They packed light, just their phones and water bottles. The drop-off point buzzed with typical teenage excitement as they discussed their plans to take photos on the historic bridge. At 1:30 p.m., Kelsey watched her sister and Abby head toward the trail, their voices carrying back to her filled with laughter. The arrangement seemed simple. Enjoy a few hours of freedom, then meet their ride for pickup later that afternoon. At 1:45 p.m., Libby shared a photo on Snapchat, Abby walking along the bridge, her blonde hair caught in the winter sunlight. The hours ticked by. When the arranged pickup time arrived, the girls weren't at the meeting spot. Calls to their phones went straight to voicemail. Parents and family members gathered, spreading out along the trails, their voices echoing through the trees as they called out for Abby and Libby. The February sun set early, casting long shadows across the search area. By 5:30 p.m., worry had transformed into fear. Local law enforcement launched an official search, but darkness complicated their efforts. Floodlights cut through the night as community members joined police in combing the area. The girls' phones remained silent. Their social media accounts showed no new activity after Libby's bridge photo. Morning brought more searchers, but no answers. The temperature dropped overnight, and a sense of urgency gripped everyone involved. The trail system covered miles of terrain, each passing hour adding to the growing dread among family members. No one wanted to voice their worst fears, but they hung heavy in the air as the search continued. The girls' families huddled together at the Search Command Center, sharing stories and prayers, holding on to hope even as time slipped away. They described their daughters to anyone who would listen, Abby's gentle spirit, Libby's determined nature, the beautiful friendship they shared. The whole town of Delphi seemed to hold its breath, waiting for news about two of their own. The bridge stood silent above it all, its weathered boards holding secrets that would soon break hearts across the nation. This story was about to become more than a missing persons case. It would change Delphi forever and launch one of Indiana's most extensive investigations. The investigation widened with each passing hour. FBI agents arrived within days, bringing specialized equipment and resources. The Bureau's Behavioral Analysis Unit joined the case, studying the crime scene photographs and evidence to build a profile of the perpetrator. Their analysis suggested someone familiar with the area, someone who knew the bridge's isolated location and the surrounding terrain. Every element of physical evidence underwent extensive testing. The FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia received priority samples. State police laboratories processed additional items. DNA analysis, fiber examination, footwear impressions. Each piece of evidence might hold the key to identifying the person responsible. The phone evidence remained central to the investigation. Beyond the released portions, investigators possessed additional recordings and data they kept private. This unreleased evidence became crucial for validating tips and potential suspects. Only the true perpetrator would know these specific details. The recording itself underwent extensive audio enhancement. FBI audio specialists worked to clarify the man's voice, analyzing every nuance of those 4 words. "Guys, down the hill." They studied speech patterns, regional accents, and vocal characteristics that might help identify the speaker. Police released 2 key sketches during the investigation. The first, published shortly after the murders, showed a man with goatee-style facial hair wearing a hat. A second sketch, released in 2019, depicted a younger-looking man, a marked contrast to the initial image. Authorities explained that the second sketch represented their primary person of interest based on new evidence and witness information. The crime scene location proved significant to investigators. The spot where the girls were found lay in a remote area, down a steep bank near Deer Creek. Access required knowledge of the terrain or considerable exploration. This suggested the perpetrator might have previous experience with the area, perhaps using it for hunting or hiking. Investigators collected surveillance video from homes and businesses throughout Delphi. They created timelines of everyone known to be on the trails that day. Each potential witness underwent detailed interviews. Officers documented every vehicle parked near the trail access points. The physical evidence presented unique challenges. The weather conditions, warm for February, potentially affected certain types of evidence. The creek's proximity complicated matters further. Yet investigators persisted, using advanced techniques to gather what they could from the scene. Law enforcement kept many details private. They never publicly revealed the cause of death. They maintained strict control over crime scene photographs and specific evidence details. This strategy served 2 purposes: protecting the investigation's integrity and preserving the ability to verify any future confessions. The crime scene told a story of calculated actions: the location's isolation, the timing during a school day off, the approach on the bridge where escape routes were limited. None of these elements appeared random. Investigators believed the perpetrator had planned aspects of this crime, showing premeditation and familiarity with the area. The legal proceedings began with Allen's initial hearing. He pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of murder. His defense team, appointed by the court, faced the task of examining thousands of documents related to the 5-year investigation. They requested changes of venue, citing the impossibility of finding an impartial jury in Carroll County. Court documents revealed additional details about the investigation. Allen had been interviewed by police in 2017, admitting to being on the bridge the day of the murders. According to court records, he claimed to have seen 3 young girls on the trails. This statement contradicted known facts. Only Abby and Libby were present. The prosecution built their case methodically. They presented evidence about Allen's familiarity with the area, his ownership of the matching weapon, and his presence near the crime scene. They emphasized the significance of the unspent round found at the scene, suggesting it came from Allen's gun. Defense attorneys challenged the evidence. They questioned the reliability of ballistic matching, the handling of evidence over the 5-year investigation, and the timing of Allen's arrest. They sought to suppress certain evidence, including items seized during the search of Allen's home. The case took unexpected turns. In late 2023, Allen's defense team was removed and replaced. New attorneys brought fresh perspectives and different legal strategies. They filed motions seeking to dismiss charges, challenging evidence collection methods, and requesting access to sealed documents. Court proceedings revealed the scope of the investigation. Prosecutors had gathered over 100,000 pages of documents, thousands of tips, and numerous pieces of physical evidence. The task of organizing and presenting this material in court became a massive undertaking. The judicial process moved slowly through 2024. Each hearing brought new motions, legal arguments, and procedural debates. The defense sought additional time to review evidence. Prosecutors worked to maintain the integrity of their case while managing public interest and media attention. Special Judge Fran Gull presided over the case, making crucial decisions about evidence admissibility and trial procedures. She faced the challenge of balancing public interest with the defendant's right to a fair trial. Security measures increased around the courthouse during proceedings. The community watched these developments closely. Some residents struggled with the revelation that Allen had been among them for years. Others expressed relief that an arrest had finally been made. The victims' families attended each hearing, seeking answers and justice. Local media covered every aspect of the proceedings. National news organizations returned to Delphi, examining how the arrest and trial affected the small town. Documentaries and podcasts updated their coverage, analyzing new information as it emerged through court filings. The legal process continues into 2024. Prosecutors revealed that both victims had their throats cut. Williams was found fully clothed, while German was discovered nude. An unspent caliber bullet from Allen's gun was located between the bodies. Prosecutors presented evidence of Allen confessing to the murders over 60 times while in custody, including admissions to his wife, mother, family members, prison staff, and inmates. These confessions were made in person, over the phone, and in writing. The jury was also shown a digitally enhanced 43-second version of the cell phone video recorded by German, with prosecutors asserting Allen was the bridge guy. A state police master trooper testified that Allen's voice matched that of the bridge guy on the video, based on more than 700 monitored prison phone calls. A clinical psychologist from the Indiana Department of Corrections Behavioral Health testified for the defense, stating Allen was diagnosed with a serious mental illness and had a grave disability. She further testified that Allen told her he initially intended to sexually assault the victims, but abandoned the plan after spotting a van nearby, instead cutting the girls' throats and covering their bodies with sticks. A neuropsychologist hired by the defense testified that Allen suffered from severe depression, work-related stress, and anxiety. The sequestered jury began deliberations on November 7, 2024, and reached a verdict on November 11, convicting Allen on all counts. On December 20, 2024, Judge Gull sentenced him to 65 years for the murder of German and 65 years for the murder of Williams, to be served consecutively for a total of 130 years. Allen was subsequently transported to the Reception Diagnostic Center in Plainfield, where he is currently serving his sentence. The story of Abby and Libby changed Delphi forever. The once quiet trails now carry memories that touch every resident. Local businesses display purple ribbons, the color chosen to honor the girls. Their photos hang in shop windows, a constant reminder of 2 young lives cut short. The families transformed their grief into action. They created parks, scholarships, and community programs in the girls' names. These living memorials serve both as tribute and protection, places where future generations can safely gather, play, and create memories of their own. Kelsey German, Liberty's sister, emerged as a powerful voice for justice. She pursued a degree in psychology and forensic science, turning her personal tragedy into a mission to help others. Through social media and public speaking, she keeps her sister's story alive, reaching audiences across the nation. The community's response showed the strength of small-town bonds. Residents organized searches, prepared meals for the families, and maintained constant vigils. They created support networks that continue today, proving how tragedy can bring people together rather than tear them apart. The Monon High Bridge Trail underwent changes. New security cameras monitor the area. Emergency call boxes stand at regular intervals. The community refused to abandon this historic landmark, choosing instead to make it safer for future generations. Local schools incorporated safety awareness into their curriculum. They teach students about situational awareness, the importance of traveling in groups, and using technology responsibly. Liberty's quick thinking with her phone became a lesson in itself, how presence of mind in dangerous situations can make a crucial difference. The investigation brought national attention to how social media and technology affect modern crime solving. Liberty's recording demonstrated how ordinary devices can capture extraordinary evidence. Law enforcement adapted their methods, recognizing the power of digital clues in solving cases. Questions linger about that February afternoon. What drew the perpetrator to that isolated spot? Did he know the area from previous visits? The arrest of Richard Allen answered some questions but raised others. The full story remains locked in evidence files and sealed testimonies. The legal process moves forward, carrying the hopes of a community seeking answers. Each court hearing brings families back to the courthouse, searching for truth in legal documents and witness statements. They sit through difficult testimony, holding on to memories of two bright young lives. Abby's artwork still hangs in local galleries. Her drawings capture moments of joy, revealing the talent that never had time to fully bloom. Liberty's softball teammates retired her number, keeping her spirit alive on the field where she once played. The case changed how communities view their shared spaces. Parents look differently at familiar paths and bridges. They teach their children awareness without fear, balance safety with independence. The lessons of Delphi rippled outward, touching towns across America. Technology continues advancing, bringing new tools to help solve crimes. Yet the human element remains crucial. Witnesses coming forward, communities standing together, families refusing to give up hope. The Delphi case proves how these elements work together in the search for justice. Share your thoughts on social media. How has this case affected your community? What steps can we take to protect young people while preserving their independence? Your comments help keep these important conversations going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more true crime documentaries. And now we leave Delphi, carrying with us the memory of two friends who loved art, music, and taking photos on a historic bridge. Their story reminds us how ordinary moments can change lives forever, and how a community's love can survive the darkest days.